Hello everyone! In this video we're going to talk about the many ways that the ancient Greeks have influenced life in the US. Some of them are so common that you might not even know that they originally came from ancient Greece. So here's a look at how ancient Greece has influenced the Western world and beyond for thousands of years. One of the most important ways that ancient Greece influenced the US is the invention of democracy. However, Greek democracy was different from the representative democracy that the United States has today. The founding fathers borrowed democracy from ancient Rome, which was historically influenced by Greece. Athens, a city-state, had the most sophisticated democracy during its time. Only men were allowed to vote, no slaves or women could vote, and they voted for virtually every decision made in the city. Men would meet 2 or 3 times a month on the top of a hill, speak their minds, and raise their hand to vote. Being educated and involved in politics was an important idea in Athens and proved you were a good citizen. Everyday citizens were also able to participate in trial by jury. For minor crimes, 500 men would meet to decide your fate, and for bigger trials, up to 1,500 Athenians would deliberate your case, much bigger than the 12 jury members we have in court trials in the US. They are still comprised of everyday citizens, but most juries in the US do not determine the punishment, just whether or not the person is guilty or not guilty of the charges. Chaos, chorus, elephant, xylophone. Anytime you see any of those weird words where CH makes a K sound and PH makes an F sound, there's a good chance that word originally came from Greek. In fact, over 60% of English words derive from Greek and Latin, and that percentage is higher once you get into academic vocabulary. Even the word alphabet comes from the first 2 letters of the Greek alphabet, alpha and beta. And don't get me started on all the words that come from the fascinating stories in Greek myths that we teach in schools in the US. Tantalizing, galaxy, Pandora's box, Achilles' heel. We all get these words from ancient Greek stories. The ancient Greeks loved sports and competition. They held many games, but the most famous ones were held in honor of Zeus, the king of the gods, every 4 years in the city of Olympia, thus the name, the Olympic Games. Men from all around Greece would come to Olympia and compete in events such as wrestling, marathons, boxing, equestrian sports, and discus throwing. However, unlike modern Olympians, the ancient winners did not receive medals, just fame and glory, and maybe sometimes a statue of them. They also got a nice laurel wreath of victory placed on their heads, just like they do in the modern Olympics. The ancient Greeks made many scientific discoveries, especially in math and astronomy. Do you know the Pythagorean theorem? Much of early Greek science was based on logical deduction. But a man named Archimedes argued that experiments were the best way to test out ideas and learn about the world around us. Eratosthenes, the father of geography, calculated the circumference of the Earth, and Hipparchus became one of the first people to predict solar eclipses. We probably wouldn't have the great plays by Shakespeare if it weren't for the ancient Greeks. In fact, many of his plays were inspired by ancient Greek playwrights, Greek philosopher Plutarch, and Roman writer Ovid. The ancient Greeks are most well known for their comedy and tragedy plays and creating the amphitheater for people to watch these performances. So not only did they perfect the art of the play, but the architecture for it as well. Lastly, the ancient Greeks are the founders of Western thought through philosophy. We wouldn't have teachers asking us questions they already know the answer to without Socrates and his Socratic questioning. He is also known for the Socratic method, where someone is asked questions in order to clarify their moral beliefs. Aristotle influenced how we persuade audiences with ethos, building trust, pathos, appealing to emotion, and logos, supporting arguments with facts. Plato, Aristotle's teacher, in his search to understand truth and belief, created the allegory of the cave. Do we believe what we are taught, or do we believe what we see and experience? There are so many other ways that the ancient Greeks have influenced our lives, but today, that's all we have time for. See you later!